Yes. So for this media show and tell, I picked a report on ABC's 2020 that went up just a few days ago on the 11th. Yeah, Saturday the 11th, March 11th. It's called Breaking Point, and it's focusing on a heroin epidemic in New Hampshire, and it was presented by David Muir, Muir, and I watched it via abc.go.com. So the report was all about the heroin epidemic, specifically in New Hampshire. They followed several young couples as they tried to look for help. They interviewed parents of heroin addicts and overdose people. Um, they interviewed a lot of people who've been impacted, and it was a lot. Um, they followed one young man who was desperately trying to get in some sort of rehab program. He called so many places. There was no beds free for him. He couldn't find help anywhere. Finally, he found help. He only lasted 3 days. 3 days before he got out, and he died of a heroin overdose because they didn't have the medications necessary to help wean him off of heroin. Um, Another young couple, the father was in trouble in Vermont from drug related charges, and he heard that if he turned himself in, they would offer treatment instead of jail as an option. Well, when he tried that, he ended up being put in jail. Uh, that seems to be the center of most of this is people wanting help, needing help, knowing they need help, trying to get help, and there's just not enough help. It's actually really sad. Um, Something that they mentioned in the report that stood out to me is that 20% more money spent in law enforcement than there is in treatment in New Hampshire, which I get it's illegal and people should go to jail and yada yada yada, but it's also a medical issue and an illness and people need help. Um, what this says to me is us as a society is that we have a major problem and we need like major help. Uh, Not entirely sure what that help should be, though. I do remember hearing that Gloucester put out some kind of program where if you just turn yourself in to the police, they won't arrest you. They'll just take your drugs and try and get you help. Maybe if there was more things like that, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, so a lot of we need help, but also it showed that there are a lot of people out there that want to help. There was a nurse who lost her son to heroin and just turned into an advocate, going and volunteering and trying to help as many people as possible. She even went so far as to help co-fund a home for women who are addicted and have children and stuff, which was very cool. Um, so yeah, that's my media show and tell. Oh, in case you're curious, I picked this topic. I mean, it was a news story that interests me, but it interests me because I'm originally from New Hampshire, and sorry, I have a lot of friends who have died from heroin, so just thought it was worth talking about.